I'm back. Maybe I'm back. Says I'm back. Uh, Now my cam is frozen. Are you kidding me? My cam is frozen. Why? There we go. Like, what are you doing to me? And Pop Taterhead, good morning, and everyone have a fabulous Friday. Yes, we're having a crash fest over here. Second time it's crashed, and so Streamlabs said, "Hey, let's do an update today." And I said, "Sure, I'll get that done, and then we'll start stream." So a good thing I did the update so it can just crash on me. This is turning into a chat stream. Just type what you were going to say into the chat. Yeah. Anyway, I was going to go look up the Hittites and see the list of the names. I wasn't really looking for the Hittites. But, yay, back and an ad starting. Okay, let me just go over here. I'm going to turn these off today. This is just, if I can, I'm going to just turn these off today. Did that work? Did it not? No, you didn't click on it. Come on, click. There we go. Please tell us why you're disabling them. Yeah, maybe someday. Not right now. Okay. Hopefully they're disabled. Like I'm not making you sit through ads because, you know, Streamlabs Streamlabs OBS is crashing. That's ridiculous that you're going to have to sit through ads because of that. Okay. So I was looking for the Hittites and the Perizzites. If I do that, then maybe we'll narrow it down. I believe they were both close cousins in the stalactites in the Bible time. Okay, there it is. Okay, so there's the list of 6. The Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites. Not the Ammonites. The Amorites. Oh, let me show you. Sorry. I'm going to have to click on this again, aren't I? Ugh. Come on. Browser. I mean, this annoys me on a good day. This annoys me on a good day. Okay. So you have the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites when it's the list of 6. And then later on, there is the Girgashites that get added to the list, the Girgashites. So that's what I wanted to go look at. Who's on the list? The Gibeonites are not on the list. The Gibeonites are not on the list of those that need to be destroyed. So, unless they are a subgroup of one of these others. Okay. When the news reached all the kings on the west side of the Jordan, in the hill country, the foothill, and along the Mediterranean coast as far as Lebanon, including the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. So that's a list of 6, but there's also the Girgashites that get mentioned occasionally. They formed an alliance to fight against Joshua and Israel. When the residents of Gibeon heard that Joshua did to Jericho and the heap of ruins, they did something clever. They collected some provisions and put worn-out clothes on their donkeys, along with worn-out wineskins that were ripped and patched. They had worn-out patched sandals on their feet and dressed in worn-out clothes. All their beard was dry and, their bread was dry and hard. They came to Joshua at the camp in Gilgal and said to him and the men of Israel, sorry, I'm turning my heater on. My legs are starting to get a chill. All the ites. I really like the ites. I wish we used ites today. I think it makes more sense than some of the other ones that we have. Like, if you're from Michigan, you're a Michigander. Yeah, I don't want to be a gander of anything. I mean, gandering is standing around with your mouth open. Oh, so that's a gawker, not a gander. But anyway, a Michiganite makes more sense. Or let's shorten it, a Mitchite. I would much rather be called a Mitchite or a Mishite than a Michigander. And by the way, there was a vote. I want to say 30 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, there was a vote that the people of the state voted, and Ite wasn't one of the choices, but it should have been. Anyway. Okay, so they said to us, "We have come from a distant land. Make a treaty with us." The men of Israel said to the Hivites, "Perhaps you live near us." Wait a minute, it just said Hivites. Okay, I got to go look at this. Gotta go check that out. This is what I wanted to check. That's why I went and checked the list. So, inhabited Gibeon heard. What verse was I in? Verse 7. Yeah. Okay. So they are one of the tribes that they are not supposed to, they are supposed to totally destroy. They are the Hivites. So how can we make a treaty with you? They said to Joshua, "We are willing to be your subjects." Like, we're willing to be slaves just to save our lives. So Joshua said to them, "Who are you and where did you come from?" They told him, "Your subjects have come from a very distant land because of the reputation of the Lord your God, for we have heard the news about all he did in Egypt and all he did to the two Amorite kings on the other side of the Jordan, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan in Ashtaroth. Our leaders and all who live in our land told us, 'Take provisions for your journey and go meet them. Tell them we are willing to be their subjects. Make a treaty with us. This bread of ours was warm when we packed it,' lie, in our homes the day we started out to meet you, but now it is dry and hard. These wineskins were brand new," lie, "but now how they have ripped. Our clothes and sandals have worn out because it has been a very long journey," lies. The men examined some of their provisions, but they failed to ask the Lord's advice. There's your problem. There's your problem. Okay, where was I at? There it is. Joshua made a peace treaty with them and agreed to let them live. The leaders of the community sealed it with an oath. Okay, so these are the Hivites. I didn't catch that before because they were from Gibeon and they're called the Gibeonites. And the Gibeonites last later or show up later in David's lifetime. But here's part of what's happening here. Notice what we just had. We just had obedience, disobedience, and defeat. Then we had inquiry of God and obedience to God and strict obedience to God, which included deception. So here we have the people of God using deception to defeat the heap of ruins. Immediately after, we have a story about deception, and they don't go to God. They don't go to God. So what happens? They're deceived because they don't go to God. They did go to God. They were able to deceive others. So they should have went to God. Like, okay, I'm just saying, telling me this has got sus all over it. This has got, like, they pushed the story too far. The bread was warm when we took it out of the oven when we left. The wineskins were brand new. and our shoes were new too. Like, how far were you walking and how long? I mean, like, people know how long it takes for wineskins to wear out and shoes to wear out. Like, you overplayed your hand. You should have been caught. But they examine and go, well, yeah, it's got a patch on there and that doesn't smell real good and their shoes are worn out. Yeah, the story is sus all over the place. They probably should have said no. They didn't inquire of God, and they make the treaty. Now, here's one of the things, though. Here's one of the things. The treaty is made under false premises. They are deceived into the treaty, but watch what happens. This always bugged me. It always bugged me. But let's see what happens. 3 days after they made the treaty. Now, I don't know how many times we've had 3 happen already in Joshua, but here again, 3 days. So they went to spy out. We're going to attack, all with 3 days periods of time. Go and hide for 3 days. Here, 3 days. So 3 days seems to be a time of revealing the next thing. Not sure why. The thing that's hidden will be revealed in 3 days. Oh! Maybe that's it. The spies are hidden, and it's 3 days. We'll go search out the land, and it's 3 days. And now here, in 3 days, the deceit will be revealed. Oh, and 3 days in the tomb, the resurrection will be revealed. The fullness of God's plan will be revealed. Maybe there's something in that with the 3 days. I don't know. Let's just say there is. Oh, by the way, if we crash again, heads up, I'm not going to try to get back on again. If we crash again, yeah, that's just a clue that we'll be done for today if we crash one more time. Okay, so 3 days after they made the treaty with them, the Israelites found out they were from the local area and lived nearby. So the Israelites set out, and on the 3rd day arrived at the cities of Gibeon, Keperath, Beeroth, Kiriath Jearim. Okay, I wonder what the names of those cities mean. So 3 is our limit on stream. Yes, exactly. Yes, so we're good. 3 is the limit. Yes. After 3, yes. 3 strikes, you're out. Okay, where is it? What verse? 17. Okay, I passed it. Come on. Open a tab. Open a tab. Open a tab. Okay. So, Gibeon is Hill City. Sephirah is Lioness. Beeroth, you have the beer in there, Beeroth. Wells, Karjoth Jearim, City of Forests. Ooh, that's fascinating. Okay. So, they're not like the heap of ruins. They're not like the heap of ruins. Okay, the Israelites did not attack them because the leaders of the community had sworn an oath to them in the name of the Lord God of Israel. The whole community criticized the leaders, but all the leaders told the whole community, we swore an oath to them in the name of the Lord God of Israel, so we can't hurt them. We must let them live so we can escape the curse attached to the oath we swore to them. The leaders then added, let them live, so they became woodcutters and water carriers for the whole community. All the leaders had decided. So, all right, we swore a treaty, and they're going to become the woodcutters and the water carriers. The labor you don't want to do. The labor you don't want to do. So, depending on what you don't want to do, I don't want to cut my lawn. So, they would be my landscaping crew. They would be my landscaping crew. Oh, yes, and the dishwasher. They'd be washing my dishes and doing the laundry. There we go. That's what they would do for me. Then wood cutting and water carrying. There you go. Joshua summoned the Gibeonites and said to them, "Why did you trick us, saying, 'We live far away from you,' when you really live nearby? Now you are condemned to perpetual servitude as woodcutters and water carriers for the house of God." So they said to Joshua, "It was carefully reported to your subjects how the Lord your God," so your subjects, they're referring to themselves, "your subjects, how the Lord your God commanded Moses his servant to assign to the whole land and to destroy all who lived in the land before you. Because of you, we were terrified." And I bet this is the melted in their hearts. Yes, we were afraid. I still think it's probably the melted in their hearts. Not going to look that one up. "We would lose our lives," or maybe it's just worried to lose our lives, but so we did this thing. So now we're in your power. Do with us what you think is good and appropriate. Joshua did as they asked. He kept the Israelites from killing them, and that day made them woodcutters and water carriers for the community and for the altar of the Lord at the divinely chosen site. They continued in the captivity to this very day. So, okay, they can do my ironing. There you go, exactly. Like we're going to make this group of people do what we don't want. Now, the wood carrying and the water carrying would have been it would bless the whole community. Like, all they've got to do, you send them out to gather wood. And I did say there's a forest there, but this is not like European and North American forests. Okay, it's not. It's a desert for the most part. So forests are, gathering wood, cutting wood, gathering water, carrying water. You had to do those jobs, and so and for all the animals too. So they gave them a communal job to be able to take on. So let's see where we are in the reading. Oh, I didn't look that up for today. Did not look up today's reading. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so it's the rest of Joshua 9 and 10. Tomorrow is 11 and 12. And Sunday is 13 and 14. All right, so we're just going to keep rolling. We're going to keep rolling. We got an hour. Let's see what we can get done. And I'll just write them in when we're done. Okay, number 10. Adonai Zedek, king of Jerusalem. Okay. Map. Okay, that's what they're doing. That's not what I wanted. Next chapter. Because Zedek, I believe, means king. Oh, no, Melech, not Zedek. It's Melech is king. Okay. So what is Adonai Zedek?
Strong's H139. Adonai Zedek. Adonai Zedek.
Okay. My Lord is righteousness. My Lord is righteousness, king of Jerusalem. Let's go ahead and look up Jerusalem. I don't know if we've looked it up recently. What does Jerusalem mean? Teaching of peace. Teaching of peace. So, my Lord is righteousness, is the king of teaching of peace. That makes sense. Heard how Joshua had captured a heap of ruins and annihilated it and its kings, as he did Jericho and its king. He also heard how the people of Gibeon made peace with Israel and lived among them. All Jerusalem was terrified because Gibeon was a large city like one of the royal cities. It was larger than the heap of ruins, and all the men were warriors. So King Prince, was it righteousness? I'm trying to remember. My Lord is righteousness. I want to say Prince of righteousness. Lord of righteousness. Lord is righteousness. Of Jerusalem sent the message to King Hoham of Hebron, King Param of Jarmuth, King Jepiah of Lachish, and King Dibber of Eglon. Come to my aid. Oh, I gotta scroll up. Come to my aid so we can attack Gibeon, for it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. So the 5 Amorite kings, okay, Amorite, not Ammonite. Ammonite are descendants of Lot. Amorites are not. Sorry. Kings, the king of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon, and all its troops gathered together and advanced. They deployed their troops and fought against Gibeon. So, you are traitors. We're coming after you. We're not going against them. We're coming after you. So, let's just pick on the United States for a minute, and let's just say that Panama. I'm going to pick someone far away. Panama has taken all of Central America, and they've just captured Mexico. And so let's pick on Arizona. Arizona decides to go down and make a treaty with Panama and say, hey, we'll be your vassal state. We'll send you all of our GDP. Just don't annihilate us. And so then New Mexico and California get a little pissed off about this, and they say, hey, let's get Colorado and Texas together and let's go destroy them. They joined the other side. So, there we go. Oh, I don't know what that was. Can I see what that was? Don't know what it was. So if it was legit, so banned suck laws. I will have to check that out later. That's the first time that the bot has done something, but the bot is here to try and protect against spam attacks. So that's what it's for. So I'm guessing it was something along that. Okay. The men of Gibeon sent this message to Joshua at the camp in Gilgal. Do not abandon your subjects. Come up here quickly and rescue us. Help us. For the Amorite kings living in the hill country are attacking us. So Joshua and his whole army, including the bravest warriors, marched up to Gilgal. Okay, it says the whole army. Wouldn't the bravest warriors be there? Why did it need to get added? But it did. The Lord told Joshua, do not be afraid of them, for I am handing them over to you. Okay, so this continually happens throughout the book. I think it is more of a storytelling device than it is Joshua afraid every time he's going to go up. It's more of the reassurance of God is with you. The I will never leave you nor forsake you. I'm with you. So I don't think it's go Joshua, look at how fearful he is. He's always told to do not be afraid. No, I don't think that's it. I think it's for the reader. It's for the listener to hear God's assurance again and again and again. Not because of Joshua, but because of you. Okay. For I'm handing them over to you today. No one of them can resist you. Joshua attacked them by surprise after marching all night from Gilgal. The Lord routed them before Israel. Israel thoroughly defeated them at Gibeon. They chased them up the road to the pass of Beth Horon and struck them down all the way to Azekah and Mekadeth. Wait a minute. Megadeth? Oh, Megadah. Sorry, my brain was saying Megadeth. Sorry. I'll look those up in a second. Let me finish this. As they fled from Israel on the slope leading down from Beth Horon, the Lord threw, so Beth would be house of Haran, threw down on them large hailstones from the sky all the way to Azekah. That's a cool sounding name, Azekah. They died, in fact, more died from hailstones than the Israelites killed with the sword. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go look up verse 18. Verse 18. Oh, am I in the wrong chapter? I'm in Joshua 10. Why would I say 18? I had footnote 18. Oh, that's verse 10. Verse 10. We'll find out what this Megadeth is. And I want to see how they pronounce it too. Beth Horon. It's possible that Joshua doubted himself or doubted if he was hearing the right thing from God. He had a big boots to fill Moses. I know, but I'm saying I think we overplay that. I don't like Joshua was ready to go 40 years ago to go kill them. Joshua at times wanted to go and seek God's vengeance upon things. So to me, it's like 40 years later, he's going to be a weakling and afraid of everything. I think it's more of the assurance for the people than it is for Joshua. House of Hallowness. That's weird. Haran is hallowness. Dug over. Ezekah is dug over. I don't know what you dug over, but that's weird. Here's the one I want to know. Place of the shepherds. Oh my goodness. Okay, how is this one? Oh, let me go back to the other one first. How that one is pronounced. Ezekah, am I right?
Strong's H 5825. Azekah.
Azekah. More of a hard A. Megadah.
Strong's H 4719.
Makeda.
Oh,
again, I don't get my A's. I usually lower them. I don't usually like the A. I go So, a Makeda. Yeah, that's not a cool name. Makeda. Not a cool band name. Megadah. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? There you go. You have Megadah, Place of the Shepherds. Like, that could be... There you go. This is your band name, and here's your first album title. Your first album title is Place of the Shepherds. Dun, dun. BT Dubs. I don't know if I still have it, but I at one point was writing out band names. Like, I was coming up with and creating band names, and I think at one point I had over 250 band names that I had come up with, and often with acronyms for them, like NOT. So that NOT was the Necromancers of Time. Not a great band, but, you know, hey, I was doing what I could. And I thought I could, you know, like, sell band names would be a cool thing. I register all these band names, and somebody wants that name. Why, you'll have to pay me for that name. Kind of like the way that people do with internet addresses. You pay for what is it called? Blanking on it. But you pay for the web address, and then you can sell domain name. That's it. You can sell domain names for money if you're smart enough to guess at one that will become popular and somebody wants it down the road. So, okay. Megadah. Okay. The day the Lord delivered the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua prayed to the Lord before Israel. O sun, stand still over Gibeon. O moon, over the valley of Ajalon. Oh, this is the standing still. Okay. The sun stood still and the moon stood motionless while the nation took vengeance on its enemy. The event is recorded in the scroll of the upright. It is written in the scroll of the upright. Many modern translations render this the book of Jasher. Yasser means upright one. Well, thank you so much for translating it. I appreciate that. The book of the upright one, which otherwise the king of Jerusalem was my Lord is righteousness. Yeah. Scroll was apparently an ancient Israelite collection of songs and prayers. See also 2 Samuel, but it has not been preserved. Okay, so songs and prayers is the scroll of the upright one. And this is in there. The sun stood motionless in the middle of the sky and did not set for about a full day. There has not been a day like it before or since. The Lord listened to a human being. The Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua and all Israel returned to camp at Gilgal. Okay. I don't have any clue how this could be. How could that be? I mean, my scientific mind understands the Earth rotates, and the rotation is only part of it. It's also in an orbit around the sun, and the moon is in an orbit and a rotation around the Earth. I don't know how the sun could stand still in the middle of the sky. If the planet stopped rotating and revolving, the gravitational forces on the planet would diminish, and we might be thrown off of the planet. I don't know if that, like just because we're moving, and then if it suddenly stopped, our momentum would continue, potentially, and the gravitational pull would be different. Or maybe it wouldn't. I mean, like, just trying to think through it. Like, how could this physically happen? Well, maybe that's the problem. We're trying to think of this as a physical manifestation of things. And that's not what really happened. But the only way to explain it is to say the sun, there was light. So that means the sun stood still. Well, there is light on the first day, and the sun, moon, and stars are not created until the third or fourth day. So how was there light then? This could be some other light. What it was, no clue. Is there another day since or after? Apparently not. Apparently not. But I don't have any explanation of it. None. And if you've ever gotten, so I don't know if this still goes around on email or not. Now people put memes together and they'll post things in places. But it used to be that you would get emails that would go around, and there was this big elaborate one that says, scientists have proved the day of the sun standing still from Joshua, and it goes through this whole elaborate story, and it's like, it's bunk. It's bunk. So if you ever come across a story saying scientists have proved it, to my knowledge, as of the time of recording this, in case you're watching the VOD 20 years from now, who knows? Maybe it's a thing. They haven't, and there isn't, and there's not a way for it to, from our perspective, this rotation and the revolving cease. Can't happen. Bigger question, says Pineapple says, if where they were, the sun stayed in the sky for a full day, does that mean on the other side of the planet it was darkness for a full day? From a scientific perspective, if it is in fact the sun that is staying in one place and the earth staying in one place, then yes, it would have to be that. It would have to be that. Now, there is a wobble in the earth that happens. The only thing I can think of, for instance, and it says for a whole day, that could be dismissed as metaphorical language or not. I mean, this description of how it happened. So let's just say this is where Joshua is towards the camera of the sun, and it's revolving around, moving. What if it tilted the axis slightly? Would that allow for more daylight to happen? Well, we certainly know that more daylight happens with one time of the year versus another. And there have been times when the magnetic poles have switched or shifted. So could there have been a natural thing that happened that would allow or create light reflection like the magnetic poles shifting? Maybe it's something like that. Like if I want to look for an explanation, I've got to look outside of the sun. But from the perspective of an ancient person, the sun is the source of light, the moon is the source of light. There was light. It had to be the two of them giving us light until we were completely finished. So maybe a magnetic field shift. I don't know if that would do something like that. Like you have the northern lights are created by, the magnetic field and stuff like that. So if a shifting of that, maybe it would cause light. I don't know. To be like the daylight, or a shifting on the axis to make the day longer could certainly have been a thing. It would have shifted the poles, but maybe, I don't know. So rather than it would be a day when the earth stood still, it was a saying when the earth wobbled. The earth wobbled day. Yeah, I can say, or the magnet. I mean, like if I want to search a scientific answer for it, I think I have to abandon the ancient description of the sun standing still, because scientifically it can't happen. So then it either has to be a secondary light source, and they only know the sun and moon as light sources. So you would still describe it that way because they're what brings light, the sun and moon. Nothing else gives light to the day or light to the night. The stars don't. They're too far away. So that's what I'm saying. I don't have an explanation. I haven't looked into that, but I'm saying there are other phenomenon that maybe would explain how you would see and have glowing light for a longer period of time, or it's spiritual in some way. And they didn't have a way to describe that. Like, the angel and the heavenly host appearing to the shepherds. Maybe there's something glorious like that. I don't know. I'm just saying, if someone is telling you they found the answer, be skeptical. Because it's likely that there aren't actual scientific backings behind it, because people have been trying to say that for years, to say, I want to prove my faith true, so I'll spread this story that scientists have found it. The problem is when somebody believes it and then finds out it's false, you have diminished your credibility. You're just diminishing your credibility when you try to make claims and then they turn out not to be true. So don't do that. Okay, I'm going to refill my mug from my other mug, as I do. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I know the wobble is a thing that's happened in the past, so I don't know if that could actually cause light to last long enough, and how long does it need to last for it to feel like the earth stood still. So for instance, in Alaska, it's called the land of the midnight sun, because in the summertime, you have essentially close to 23 hours of daylight, and the sun goes like below the horizon and comes back up. So the summertime, you have the opposite. You have, I don't know, an hour or two of daylight in some places, and it would feel like total darkness. So you could maybe shift the axis off of that slightly, or do a wobble like I was saying, and it just wobbles for a day and goes back to steady, and so it only affects a short period of time. I don't know what happened. God did whatever to allow them to do that, and he also caused hailstorms to come. Like, wouldn't you need a storm? So how are you having daylight in hailstones? Unless it's a meteor shower and it's fire and brimstone, but it didn't say that. It said hailstones. Okay, let's keep going. The 5 Amorite kings ran away and hid in the cave of Makkedah. Joshua was told the 5 kings, Makkedah, have been found hiding in the cave of Makkedah. Joshua said, roll large stones over the mouth of the cave and post guards in front of it. But don't you delay. Chase your enemy and catch them. Don't allow them to retreat to their cities, for the Lord your God is handing them over to you. Joshua and the Israelites almost totally wiped them out, but some survivors did escape to fortified cities. Then the whole army safely returned to Joshua at the camp of Makkedah. No one dared threaten the Israelites. Joshua said, "Open the cave's mouth and bring the 5 kings out of the cave to me." They did as ordered. So the kings are in there. Great. We'll deal with them later. Let's finish everyone else off. So they don't rout and come back with reinforcements, or they escape and we have to fight them another day. Brought the 5 kings out of the cave to him, the king of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they brought the kings out to Joshua, he summoned all the men of Israel and said to the commanders of troops who accompanied him, "Come here and put your feet on the necks of these kings." So they came up and they put their feet on their necks. Then Joshua said to them, "Don't be afraid and don't panic. Be strong and brave, for the Lord will do the same thing to all your enemies you fight." See, so says Pineapple, here's part of the reason why I don't think that the words are for Joshua strictly, because he now is using them again to the people in the army. And we have sometimes it's told to Joshua, he repeats it. It's told to Joshua in front of the people. It's told to the people. And Joshua's doing it. God's doing it. This phrase is happening continuously. So I don't think it's solely for Joshua, or even primarily for Joshua. Then Joshua executed them and hung them on 5 trees. They were left hanging on the trees until evening. At sunset, Joshua ordered his men to take them down from the tree. They threw them in the cave where they had hidden and piled large stones over the mouth of the cave. They remain to this very day. Okay, so your hiding place has become your tomb. Your place you went for sanctuary is where you will rest forever. So, but notice it, the men put their foot on the necks. This was a way to encourage the men. Look, God delivered them over. He's going to deliver everyone else that we fight this same way. The kings are going to flee to a cave. So when someone's afraid in the future, you can turn to them and say, "Be strong and courageous. Remember how we had our foots on the necks of those kings in the past, and God delivered them over to us at Makkedah." I still want to say Makkah, but it's because I have mega in my head. Okay. That day Joshua captured Makkedah and put the sword to it and its kings. He annihilated everyone who lived in it. He left no survivors. We already read up above how the survivors had escaped to other cities, and now it just said there were no survivors. This is military conquest language. The stating of no survivors is not intended to mean absolutely, literally no one survived. It's the language of we won. We won. He did to its kings what had been done to the king of Jericho. Joshua and all Israel marched from Makkedah to Libnah and fought against it. The Lord handed it over to the kings of Israel, and Israel put to the sword all who lived there. They left no survivors. They did to its kings, what had been done to the king of Jericho. Notice it's always the Jericho. We're doing to you what we did to Jericho. We're doing to you what we did to Jericho. Joshua and all Israel marched from Libnah to Lachish. He deployed his troops and fought against it, and the Lord handed Lachish over to Israel, and they captured it on the 2nd day. They put to the sword all who lived there, just as they had done in Libnah. King Horam of Gezer came up to help Lachish, but Joshua struck him down as well as his army until no survivors remained. And I think here's the thing. This one says his army until no survivors remained. Like no one willing to fight. Only, army. I know it's giving language of it, and they put to death everyone. I think every fighting person is reasonable to say, but to say everyone all these times, it's a summary language, and that's how they're just telling the story. Joshua and Israel marched from Lachish to Eglon. They deployed troops and fought against it. That day they captured it and put to the sword all who lived there. That day they annihilated it just as they had done to Lachish. Joshua and all Israel marched from Eglon to Hebron and fought against it. They captured it and put to the sword its kings, or its king, all the surrounding cities, and all who lived in it. They left no survivors. Okay, so this one is different. This one adds they left no survivors. The others didn't do that. Always. Like, they just put to the sword all who lived there. Then it moves on to the they annihilated. Here we have an extra phrase in there. As they had done to Eglon, they annihilated it and all who lived there. Just been to put the heating back on. It's usually cold over here, freezing. Well, I'm in my basement, and it's usually the same temp. It doesn't need heated, but the problem is the floor is cold, and the floor radiates cold. So you have to overcome that with a little bit of heat. I had put an insulation under the floor and hoped that and reflective shield and hope that that would have taken care of it, because I've done that at my mom's house, and it's done wonders for hers. It did not help mine. It did not help mine. Joshua and all Israel turned to Debir and fought against it. They captured it, its king, and all the surrounding cities. They put the sword to them. They annihilated everyone who lived there. They left no survivors. They did to Debir and its king what they had done to Libnah and its king and to Hebron. Joshua defeated the whole land, including the hill country, the Negev, the foothills, the slopes, and all the kings. He left no survivors. He annihilated everything that breathed, just as the Lord of Israel had commanded. Joshua conquered the area between Kadesh Barnea and Gaza and the whole region of Goshen, all the way to Gibeon. Joshua captured in one campaign all the kings and their lands. The Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua and all Israel returned to camp at Gilgal. So they've got a major camp set up. They go out to battle from there. They return to that. Okay, so this is verse 40. I want to just look at that a second. Why do you do that to me? I scrolled down. Okay, looking up what these words are in the Hebrew here. Nakah.
Strong's H 5221. Nacha.
Okay, this is just to
Nacha.
smite, to hill, to strike, to yeah. So they attacked, they won. They attacked, they won. They smote them. They struck them with the sword.
Strong's H 2763. Haram. Haram.
Okay, so to ban, to devote, to destroy, utterly, completely destroy, dedicate for destruction, exterminate. To prohibit, to exterminate, completely destroy, to put... Okay. This isn't the devoting to God by total destruction. Yeah, this isn't to give to God by destruction. Notice it's only used 3 times here in Leviticus. Yeah, so this isn't the complete destruction devoting to God. This is just they won the battle destruction is the way I am reading this. So the totally annihilate would not be the way I would tend to want to read that. Because we'll see if they mention don't intermarry. Well, if there's no one alive, you can't intermarry. Okay, when King Jabin of Hazor heard the news about Israel's victory, he organized a coalition. So notice at least these guys are smart enough to say, I'm not going alone. I'm going to get my team together, and we're going to go against them. Now, maybe they're weak because they've been fighting in battle, and you can't go into battle without losing some men. So the more they fight, the weaker they're going to get. So if I get a big enough coalition, we'll win. Okay. King Joab of Madon and King Shimron, the king of Aksaph, and the northern kings who ruled in the hill country, in the Rift Valley of Kinnereth, in the foothills, and on the heights of Dor to the west. I got to go look up what Dor means. Sorry. Need to go look up Dor in verse 2. There's a place not far from me called Dor. They're not spelled the same way. It has 2 R's, I believe. But it's Dor. I wonder if Dor has a meaning, so that's why I want to go look it up. Generation. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm not saying that etymologically this is from the same word where I live, and I don't know what it means. Could be named after a person, for all I know. Okay, so they're at Dor to the west. Canaanites came from the east and west, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, and Jebusites from the hill country. So there's 4 of them. And Hivites from below Hermon in the area of Mizpah. So 5. 5 of them. These kings came out with their armies. They were as numerous as the sands of the seashore and had a large number of horses and chariots. As these kings gathered and joined forces at the waters of Merom to fight Israel. Okay. What is Merom? What is the waters of